What's going on, everybody? It's Jay, aka it's Ghost Story, back with another Phantom Parade video. Today is going to be the clear of floor 83. If you've recently have been following my journey on Phantom Parade, I actually cleared floor 82 also very recently. I didn't make a video on it because I kind of just did it out of the blue on my iPad, but this time I made sure to actually sit down and record myself actually going through floor 83. This one is mainly featuring, the new anniversary YUJI, and I've actually been getting a couple of questions about this unit. People are very curious about it, mainly because a lot of people are skipping it. And to be fair, I understand why people are. We have Nimble Body YUJI in the game, who's still very strong. TOJI, who is also very strong. I believe that if you were to invest into those two on this tower floor, you can beat it. In fact, I have seen that people have already beaten this tower floor without this new anniversary YUJI. But I decided just to bring it on because this is kind of like a prelude before the full, really big, really long showcase video that I have in mind. If you don't know, or if you're a new subscriber, the very first video I posted on this channel was like an almost hour-long Green Nanami showcase video, and I want to make showcase videos for every unit in the game going forward. Like, we're going like all the way to year 0, where we're reviewing the SRs, the Rs, like we're making full-length, in-depth showcase videos for every unit. Obviously, it's going to take some time in order for me to, to get all that in, but everybody's interested in the anniversary units, and so am I, which is why we're here right now. And if you want my first, initial takes on Red YUJI, is it's high risk, high reward all throughout. Especially with, the new style system they incorporated in between Nimble and... I keep forgetting if it's called Rampage or not, which is his second style. But I'm pretty sure Rampage was the rough translation before he released. But it's high risk, high reward, because the main game plan is you want to hit Black Flash often, but I'm pretty sure on this stage specifically, on 83, the boss cuts debuffs. So you're relying on buffers like Nanami and Yaga to get your damage in. You can't rely on, debuffers like Mai, for example, to really help you out on this floor, because it's cut. So the only way I can really get Black Flashes in, realistically, is by relying on skill 1 from TOJI, which when you watch, the only skills I use on this floor is skill 1 and skill 3 on TOJI, and all obviously the duo with YUJI. Mainly because if you aren't using TOJI with his skill 3 on this floor, there's going to be many, many times where you're not going to be able to do any damage on the turn. Especially if the boss pops Mimicry and damage taken at the same, reduced damage at the same time, which I don't remember if he does it on this floor, the boss in question. But on previous runs where I was experimenting, this boss would pop Mimicry and then pop reduced damage. So because TOJI can only remove one buff, you'll only be able to remove the damage reduction, but it'll still have Mimicry for that turn, so you still won't be able to get a hit in, which really sucks for this team. Mainly because YUJI needs to get his hits in order for him to really prosper. Especially if you're starting with the early game. I know we're kind of reaching way past the intro of this fight, but before I used to try to gamble my luck with skill 1 on Manji Kick, and that 40% is kind of the bane of my existence. I know the game is trying to experiment, and I think same with having Naobito, for example, as a counter character but with no provocation. And then they make YUJI a unit with provocation, no counter, and his dodge chance is really low. Skill 1 has 40%, skill 2 has 30%, and the percentages don't go up as you level up the super attack. It's just a flat rate, I'm pretty sure. So if you do get those dodges it's great because you get that 15 cursed energy. You swap over to the other side. You're hitting skill 3. You're popping hits. You're hitting like 2.7 million or 3.4 million a turn. And you're also building up his Cursed Energy Boost passive, which a lot of people are a little bit confused on how to get like the full benefit of Red YUJI. And the main game plan is try to get as much Cursed Energy as possible and then swap over to the Rampage style for skill 3. Because skill 3, as you see right there, as a pop Black Flash right there, that has a high chance to Black Flash. And you want to be doing skill 3 as much as possible because you want to be building up that Curse Energy Boost. Curse Energy Boost directly correlates to your ultimate's damage. For example, when you hit 250, which I don't hit 250 in this video, but we just hit basically 16 mil right there. I was a little bit too slow to really like pause the game, but you'll see the damage number that YUJI hits. Together to hit like 48 million, and that wasn't even him fully built up. I just wanted you to think about that. Off the top of my head, this is off the cuff. I'm pretty sure this YUJI has the highest ultimate multiplier in the game, with the only units behind him being Yuta, Red Yuta, and Hollow Purple Gojo, which they both have 1,999. This YUJI at his peak has 2,100. So this guy is a nuking machine, and even when you don't have him fully built up, he's still wild. Oh, and by the way, if you guys see that Yaga play, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be so honest with y'all. I thought that the debuff would still apply the same way how, like, you know, when Nanami pops his buff, it still goes on the team. That was like a little bit of a small brain moment from me. I'm a little tired. But then we enter this really weird ordeal where this unit was definitely made with the mindset of floor 80 and above. The unit's design philosophy is you're supposed to either A, you know, get hit and survive and keep it pushing, or you don't get hit at all, which leads to a very weird dynamic because this unit does have, for example, after you pop ultimate, you're able to dodge in both styles, which is cool. It's definitely a benefit. It's still very, I think it's like 20% for dodge, and he also gains damage reduction. And for example, in his Nimble phase, his skill 2, which he also pops Provocation, he gets damage reduction for the entire team, like 9.57%, which is really bad, like certified doggone level, you know, stuff. But we're not really worried about that. The thing is, you know, the game does this. Skill 1, you gain nothing. There's no, you know, damage reduction. It's just you get a hit, you pop Provocation, there's a 40% chance you dodge, which means there's a 40% chance that a lot of good things are going on. With skill 2, you lose 10%, but you gain like a layer of security by adding that defense to yourself, which makes skill 2 almost kind of worthless in my eyes, because I mean, if you're gonna dodge, you might as well just go for the highest percent you can get, which is why you will see me use skill 1 and skill 3. For the longest time, I would start this floor spamming skill 1, and then if I don't get the proper RNG, I'll just reset. Which is also an issue, because if you're using this unit on lower tower floors, relying on his dodge could end runs really, really early, because despite the fact he has that built-in damage reduction, he could still eat a lot of damage. Like, these bosses in the 80s don't really hit that hard. They just have a ton of health. But the bosses in the 70s, like, dude, they're brutal in terms of damage. Like, I would bring YUJI back. I think it's like 477, I believe, is red. Don't quote me on that, but one of the red Taijutsu stages. And, you know, you pop that Manji kick. If he doesn't dodge, dude is going to die, or he's going to be at such low health he might as well be dead. So it's kind of a gamble. It's either you start the game skill 3 spamming, hope for that Black Flash to kick in, so then you can swap over and start spamming skill 3 for, you know, your passive, for your Curse Boost passive. Or, you know, you pray that dodge works. Or you hope for a mixture of two, where it's like you put in the skill 3, and then there's an off chance that the boss will just aim for Yuji anyway, and Yuji will just dodge. So you won't need to use Manji Kick or skill 2 to, you know, get that effect in. But overall, like I said, this unit is very high risk, high reward, and the reward is very high. Like, I know it seems like I've been overly criticizing the unit, but it's because there hasn't been a unit in this game at all until now with this level of depth. This unit is the most deep unit. We will go into it even further when I'm doing my very, very long showcase video on him. But that's like my surface level analysis. You're going to have a lot of runs where this guy, he could lose your run immediately. He could carry your run. He could save your run. He can do everything, the positives or the negatives. There's no in between. He takes everything. And as you see, I'm flexing the damage stat. He did 92 million of the boss's health, 17 million on his biggest ultimate. Like I said earlier, he wasn't built up fully at all during this entire duration. So, off of like, you know, my first initial reactions to the character, he is very fun. I'm definitely going to experiment more on the lower tower floors and kind of see, like, you know, is there any more juice we could pull out of this guy? Because my main fear is because of the fact that he's also a character that has a lower health bar than most of the other units. For example, this anniversary Toto, like, his health bar is like in the 52k range. And he also has, like, you know, he's protecting other units. Like, if you had a unit, like, for example, Greenji, like, let's say Greenji didn't have that much health, I mean, this guy's protecting him. But Red Yuji, he's popping out the damage, and he also has to be the one that protects himself while also protecting his team. That's also another thing that could work out as well, is that sometimes you want to gamble. I mean, we play Phantom Parade. You guys already know about the gambling. If a boss is about to pop a super, sometimes you could just throw Yuji right in front of it, and you can just hope and pray that he'll dodge. There was times in previous recordings for this floor where I'll just Manji kick the boss when it ults, and Yuji would dodge. But it was so rare and so far in between, I kind of just gave up at some point. So it could work, but that's the thing. There's a lot of things going on with this character, which makes it a great thing, mind you. But there's also just an overall issue of just what do I do at what time, and are you going to take that risk? And if you take that risk, will you benefit or will you lose? And I can see why people are skipping him. There's not even just on top of the fact that there's also just better units coming out, but this guy is. Don't get me wrong. If I were to make a top 10 list, he would be in the top 10. But I also feel like from the people that play Phantom Parade that I see and like the questions I get asked, I can see this unit being like way too complicated for most people, and they just tune out, or they don't use him properly, or they don't use him to the best of his ability, and they're like, I don't understand why he isn't doing as well as other people's UGs. So we'll definitely deep dive into that into the future with that showcase video. Keep in mind, we're trying to pump out as many uploads as we can. I'm gonna be trying to make videos covering Yuji, Toto, maybe Sukuna if we pull him. Heavy emphasis on if. But that was 483, and that was a sneak peek, a little showcase, a little rant, I guess, on Red Yuji. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and also consider subscribing and comment. Tell me, how do you feel about this new anniversary Yuji? Is he the GOAT for you? Do you feel like you understand his kit super well? Has he black flashed often for you? Because I know sometimes he doesn't for me. Does he dodge for you? I know sometimes he doesn't for me. He certainly ain't no MUI Goku if you know my Dokkan players out there. You know, he ain't no AGL MUI Goku, but you know, that's my guy. That's my GOAT, Yuji Itadori right there. But I'm done rambling. Thank you guys for watching. It's been Jay, aka It's Ghost Story, and I will see you guys later.